kinds of meditation in which one focuses the mind. Of course, it's actually meant meditation to focus on the form of Vishnu or Krishna. But the mind oftentimes conjures many other images. And therefore, the chanting of the mantra brings another element which is especially important. Because, as Lord Chaitanya said, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. In the names of Krishna are all his potencies. To put another way, there's no difference between Krishna and his name. And Prabhupada gave several instructions about chanting japa. And I'll read you one. Actually, I'll read you two of them this morning, because I have four altogether that I find to be representative of his teachings. And we have 2 days for this japa circle. So today's is called forced meditation. And Prabhupada wrote this in 1968. Yoga system is approved, but nobody can follow the rules and regulations strictly. Neither there is suitable place for executing it, and everyone is always full of anxiety. So how they can concentrate? So best thing is to chant Hare Krishna, which is forced meditation. So there's a couple ways of looking at the idea of forced meditation. First of all, force means power. And if you say charged meditation, that is that the holy name has a charge to it, which is the potencies of Krishna. So when you listen to the chanting and when you actively chant, then Krishna is manifesting personally on your tongue, and his force comes to you and helps to control the mind. So when we're chanting the holy names, Krishna appears and he assists us. In fact, Prabhupada talks about ways in which when you take the devotional service, even if after taking to it you become reluctant due to the weakness of heart, then Krishna will, taking your original sincere attempt, drag you along on the path. There's a word in Sanskrit, Anugrahaya. Anugraha, graha means to grab and anu means to follow. So just like if a child is walking off into traffic and the father grabs the child and pulls him back before he walks into the street, this is a kind of anugraha. He grabs him and pulls him in the right direction. So when we express our desire to Krishna to no longer wander in the material world and just be subjected randomly to various situations which lead to misery, then when we're expressing ourselves to Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we're giving him permission to please drag me in the right direction. This is a kind of mercy. So in a sense, when Prabhupada says forced meditation, we're adding another element to the meditation, not just our own acumen and being able to control the mind, but also we're calling on Krishna, please grab me and pull me in the right direction. And this is one of the ways we can pray while we're chanting is, Krishna, please direct me. Even if I don't want to go, please drag me in the right direction. And it's helpful in chanting the Maha Mantra to start with the Patapa Mantra. How many of you know the Patapa Mantra? I've heard it before. I'll say it and then you can repeat after me, and then we'll have it in a written form later you can look at. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. he came 500 years ago to set an example. Krishna comes as himself, and then he comes again as Lord Chaitanya to show by example he's Krishna as a devotee. And then he shows this is how you follow the path of devotional service. So he set an example. And he comes with his associates, who are also eternal entities in the spiritual world. There's 5 of them altogether. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, and Srivas. And these 5 deities are known as the Pancha. Pancha means 5, and Tattva means literally means truth, 5 truths of the spiritual world. So before we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, if we start with this one mantra and then enter into the chanting, it opens the door so we can chant with their assistance, their meaning the 5, the Panchatattva. Anybody have any questions? And does everybody know how to use the beads? These 2 fingers. And as Prabhupada would say, you capture 1 bead. Starting on, if you have beads that are graduated, you can start on the bigger one. If you don't, it's okay. If you don't chant on this one, we start here, and then you can roll the bead or hold it. And then when you finish one mantra, you move to the next one. And then you move along like that until you go all the way around. And then you turn around and go back the other direction. All the way around once is 1 round. And the reason that we count is because to have a steady spiritual practice, it's called Sankhya Purvaka, which means numerical strength. The mind may say, well, today, I think I chanted enough yesterday, so today I'll take a break. And then the break lasts more than a day, then it lasts more than a week and a month and a year, and then it's 20 years later, and you said, oh yeah, I stopped chanting. So in the beginning, because it takes a while to gain momentum, keeping a minimum number of rounds is very helpful. And so we count it. And then we have these beads on the bag, which you may or may not have yet. Don't worry about it. But this means when you pull one down, when you finish 1 round, go all the way around, when you pull 1 down. And then typically devotees have 16, because this is one of the primary goals. You don't have to start with this, but if you start with some minimum and you keep it up and you're consistent with the number that you do every day of rounds, you can work your way up to doing 16 rounds a day at some point. And that's a good place to be. It's a number that Srila Prabhupada had recommended everybody do every day. And it's substantial. It's a substantial number, but it keeps you steady in your chanting. So I'll say the Panchatattva Maha Mantra, and then you can repeat, and then we can all go into the chanting of the Maha Mantra for a couple of rounds, and we may stop just for a moment after a couple of rounds and take some reflections and see how everything's going. Okay? Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. And now everyone can chant at their own pace the Maha Mantra. And one stricture you can follow that can be helpful is just be aware that you're chanting. You'll notice your awareness will go somewhere else, like, oh, my foot hurts, or I have an email to write. When you notice that, just then bring your awareness back to the chanting. And just for now, stay present in the chanting and keep practicing bringing your awareness back to the sound of the mantra again and again. And your mind will go away, so don't get discouraged. It just takes practice to keep coming back to the mantra. Hare Krishna. How's it going? Good, because you're in the right place, right planet, right age, right mantra. And here's a second instruction that Prabhupada gave to one of his disciples. These are all excerpts from letters he wrote about japa. This is from 1969, and I entitled this one Determination and Effort. Prabhupada writes, regarding your last question about the ecstatic symptoms of chanting Hare Krishna, you should know that the Hare Krishna mantra has an equal effect upon all devotees, just like the sunshine has an equal effect on everyone. But when it is covered, the sunshine has a different effect. Similarly, the influence of the Hare Krishna mantra becomes manifest when one is no longer covered by the 10 offenses to chanting. The more we become free from the 10 offenses, the more the effect of chanting becomes manifested through us. Everyone can become a great devotee, being freed from the offenses 100%, simply by one's determination and effort. And since I'm not going to go into an extended explanation of the 10 offenses right now, there are various attitudes that offense actually is not a very precise translation of the word aparadha. Radha means service, aradhanam, and aparadha means you're doing something that distracts you from your service or that keeps you from being absorbed in divine service, aparadha. And it's a diversionary kind of attitude. So there are attitude adjustments that can be made, and there's some alignment there through these 10 offenses, so-called 10 offenses. But one of the phrases that Prabhupada mentions here that can be very helpful is by one's own determination and effort. The word determine has the word terminus in it, which means an ending point. And in order to count oneself as determined, for instance, in reading a book, means you finish it. Or if you're walking a mile, then you finish the mile. There's an ending point. You know what it is, and you complete it. So in the beginning of the practice of Krishna consciousness, there's a sense of being determined, even if one doesn't have a full taste for what one's doing. You may have an intellectual understanding and say, it's coming from an authoritative source that I can respect, and I believe that the effect will be good. And therefore you finish it and you do the practice. This is called Vaidhi or Vidhi, or following the rule based on your faith in the source. Just like if you go to a doctor and the doctor says, I know what you have, I know what the medicine is, here are 10 pills, take one a day after breakfast. And even though you're not sure what's in the pill, and even after 3 days or 4 days you don't feel the effect of it yet, you keep taking it because when you went to see the doctor who was highly recommended, you saw on the wall there was a diploma from a school you've heard of before. It wasn't from the internet. And you keep doing it because you trust, and you say, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. And your determination means you follow the 10-day course and you finish them, all the pills, that is. So by determination means one has to have a sense of, I'm taking medicine, even though I may not feel the effect right away, I'm going to be determined, I'm going to follow the course to the end and keep doing it based on my intelligence. I've done my due diligence to understand that this is a proper thing to do. And effort means that we have free will. We can do whatever we want at any time. And the more that we discipline ourselves to follow what a spiritual authority has given us, what Krishna's given us, the freer we become. It seems paradoxical, and there's a saying, strengthening the bonds that free us. So there are bonds to the material world that we have that bind us and give us less freedom, but there's a way that we can bind ourselves to Krishna's instructions and by our own effort tie ourselves to those instructions. And counterintuitively, the more we do that, the freer we become. And that requires our own effort, means that we have to do it. Nobody's going to fly in and chant your japa for you and say, I'll take over from here. You have to actually put in the effort. So that the two words put together, determination and effort, are those that you can apply to your practice of devotional service. And just remember, finish what you started and do your due diligence. Remember, it's coming from you. No one else will do it. You have to do it. And if you do, then you'll find yourself becoming freed on the spiritual platform to do more devotional service, and you'll become happy. Any thoughts or comments about Prabhupada's instruction about determination and effort? And also, just as another note from this instruction, that he compares the chanting to the sun. Sun's available to everybody, the good effects of the sun, especially here in San Luis Obispo. But if you go inside and close all the curtains and stay in the dark, then you won't get the effects. So there's a way in which, although it's available to everybody equally, Prabhupada says, you have to be the one that makes sure that you take advantage of the rays. Okay, need some human interaction, so just give any reflection that you might have so far, whatever it may be. 1, 2.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, when you mentioned that the Lord is in the form of mantra is available to everyone, it also gives me a clear understanding that Lord is not, partial. Is giving access to each one, all of us, and wherever we are, in whatever situation we may be. So it is up to us to access that thing. Sometimes generally many times you interact with many people, they have seen I am suffering and because of this, and then Lord is not favoring me. So it is all up to us to access it, because sunlight is there, but it is up to us to open the curtain and access it. So
a good point.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for the example of determination and effort. So my question is that when we compare that with a disease and when we take a medicine, we expect a certain improvement on symptoms after a few days. Or we have a duration in mind that, okay, I have to take this antibiotic for 10 days. But with chanting, how do we know that, okay, these are the symptoms which shows I'm improving, and how long do we actually take it?
How long? 40 years, Prabhupada said. Actually, yeah, nice question. There are a couple symptoms you might notice, and that is when you forget what time it is when you're chanting. You're not thinking, when am I going to finish this round, or how long is this going to take? When your mind's caught in that, you're not really absorbed. But if you're able to cross over when you're chanting and forget about what time it is or how many rounds you've done, and you're only hearing the mantra itself, that's a sign that you've become absorbed. And also, when you finish your prescribed number of rounds, whether you're doing 1 a day without fail, or 4 a day, or 16 a day, whatever it may be, when you get to the end of it and you feel, oh, it's over already, I wish I could keep going, and you feel like you'd like to continue chanting, but you have other duties you have to go do, that's a sign that you're improving also. And there's also many other symptoms. One of them is that you become less and less interested in distractions. Last night, some of the participants in the seminar talked about being distracted by social media. That can become an addiction. And when you're chanting and you're improving, you might notice that you're not interested in it anymore. It's not like it's calling to you and then you're restraining yourself, but you just no, I don't have time for it. It's not an interest of mine. So one becomes less and less interested in material distraction and more interested in hearing the transcendental vibration. There are symptoms like that. And one can experience those, even someone who's chanting for the first time can feel something. It's not that you have to wait 40 years, but Prabhupada once said that when a devotee said, how long does it take to achieve pure chanting? And Prabhupada hesitated for a moment and then he said 40 years, just to give an idea that 40 years is not a long period of time, although when you're young you may think it is, but for attaining Krishna consciousness, which is something that yogis may take 40 lifetimes or 4,000 lifetimes to come to, chanting for some time, being steady over some time, is not a very high price to pay. Or it can take 4 minutes according to your absorption. Shall we try again? Okay. We've got 10 more minutes, right? Okay. Hare Krishna, thank you for participating in the topmost yoga system. Vocative form of Hara, who means the Supreme Mother, the nourisher, taking care of all of us. Krishna, Krish means the attractor. Everything that we're looking for in this world, and everyone's looking for something. The eyes are always going here, there, and everywhere, trying to find something that's pleasing. The source of all attraction, substantial attraction that never wavers, that is ever increasing, is in Krish. And Na is an abbreviation for Ananda, which means happiness. Everyone wants happiness, right? That doesn't quit. When it has a beginning and end, the sages say, and Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that's not happiness. If it has a beginning and an end, it's no happiness at all. It's just a big disappointment. So Ananda means that happiness which increases. It's hard to conceive of here in the material world because we're so used to things start and then it diminishes. The pleasure you get goes down instead of up. So Krishna, Ananda means Ananda, or ever increasing happiness. So that's a lot in one name, right? Krishna. And you think of the attractor like the word charisma. Do you know anybody with charisma? Do you know what it means? Charisma. You look it up really fast, but it means somebody that naturally has a kind of attractive feature. If you see somebody walk in the room and go, who is that? You just notice that they have some attractive force, some potency. Means?
Charisma, special, spiritual gift or power, divinely conferred, talent from God. It's a Latinized form of Greek charisma, favor, divine gift.
So Krishna, say charisma. Now say it 3 times. Pretty close. You know, Krishna has this sense where people see him and they go, wait, who is that? And you can't take your eyes off him. So charisma, the source of all charisma or spiritual attraction is Krishna. If you just think of Krishna, then you'll be satisfied. And Rama is what the yogis are all after. There's a verse from the ancient Vedas, Ramate yoga no anante satyananda chirapani iti Rama padanasu param brahma padiyate. Everyone's looking for a higher kind of happiness. If you listen to a lot of popular songs, you'll find people are talking about these types of things. Give me a higher love, or I'm looking for, I need a new drug, one that doesn't make me sick, something, where there's no side effects. These are all lyrics from songs. Everyone's kind of searching for that kind of happiness. And Rama means the type of happiness that's beyond any of the contamination of the material world. It is the higher love. It's the higher happiness. So everything's contained in the mantra, and if you train your mind to keep coming back to the mantra, then it'll catch your mind and it'll purify the mind, and then you'll start to feel less attracted to things that you know aren't good for you and that never give you satisfaction, but you can't stop looking at them. The way to overcome that is to become attracted to the mantra. And those who become attracted to the mantra naturally make spiritual advancement. There's no extra duties to do except for continually coming back to the mantra and chanting the mantra. So we'll say one time together to finish. Ready? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And this session goes on your eternal record. It's in your portfolio. The damage has been done. It can't be taken back now. So you'll always have this as an asset. Thank you very much, everybody. It was a really nice session. Hare Krishna. We're gonna do a little door-to-door Sankirtan now. Just kidding. We'll go for a morning walk. Just we'll walk around a few blocks, and you can also chant the walking japa. And keep the vibration going. Of course, we won't do it very loud because most people are still sleeping. But we'll walk around a few blocks, and then we'll come back here and have the morning program. Hare Krishna.